Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to review Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So this is the first film review on this channel and it's going to be a bit different. I've decided that the way I was doing it before was a bit too downplayed, and because I was scripting it I wasn't really showing myself, I was just showing my writing self, which is weird to say, but honestly it's quite different because when I write I tend to be a lot more complex and I tend to drone on quite a lot, whereas when I speak I can usually get things through fairly quickly. So, with that said, let's get started with the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, if I say that anymore I'm gonna go mental, is about an inventor named Flint Lockwood. Now, for the first half of the movie I thought it was called Flintlock and his second name was Wood, because whenever people say his name they went Flint Lockwood. So it sounded like his first name was Flintlock. Either way, he's a failure of an inventor whose mum's dead, but his mum was the only person who ever supported him. And the movie's 3 years old, so I'm not bothered about spoilers, sorry. But that's not a spoiler, that was in the trailer. So his mother was the only one who believed that he could actually do anything with his inventing life, but his dad doesn't support him. And his dad's quite a weird character, to be honest. But essentially, he's a failure of an inventor. The mayor of the town is corrupt and just wants publicity for the town because, well, the only food they have up until what happens soon is sardines, and because of this they have no income, or at least no worthy income, and their lives are fairly boring and non-colourful, as said by Flintlock Wood. So, basically, Flint creates a machine that's able to transform water into food, and whilst test driving this on the day that the mayor is opening a sardine theme park, it goes wrong and blasts itself like a rocket into the sky, and then which I found a rather funny twist. Well, not a twist, but a bit more scientific than you'd really expect in a children's film. The machine takes in the water from the clouds, because most people would know that clouds are made of water, which they are, but children wouldn't, right? So the machine starts taking in the water from the clouds, therefore creating more and more food. So whenever Flint decides to make some food, it will just start raining that food for a few minutes. But as he goes on, it gets bigger and bigger because more orders are put through, and it gets worse and worse and worse until it just ends up being one big, massive tornado, avalanche, tidal wave of food and sentient creatures made out of food. And it ends up just being one massive disaster movie with a twist. Instead of it being a natural disaster, it's a food disaster, and Flint has to save the day to gain back everyone's trust, because no one liked him in the first place. People liked him when he gained publicity for the town. As soon as it went wrong, people hated him. So that's the general plot of the movie. I'm not going to give away too much because I don't want to do that. However, I really like this movie, and the reasons for this are because one, the character of Earl, the policeman, he's quite hilarious. And 2, the kid has the same name as me. 3, the monkey, Steve. 3 or 4 times I laughed out loud, and that is, and I mean that. I don't laugh out loud very often at movies. However, this character, Steve the monkey, did. Now, Flint has invented this thought translator, which means whenever Steve thinks anything, it says it. And Steve is obsessed with moustaches, and there's 2 characters, Flint's dad and Kenny, I think his name was, the cameraman, who seems to be able to do anything. And Steve keeps like jumping on the set again, moustache, Steve! And it's quite funny, or at least I think it's funny. And this movie's animation is on par with Pixar. To start off with, I thought it was Pixar, but then I realised, wait a second, no lamp. Then after I noticed it wasn't Pixar, I thought maybe it was DreamWorks, but then I noticed no moon with a fishing kid. So I was thinking, well, whoever animated this movie is quite taking from Pixar, DreamWorks, and most other animated movie animators. CGI. Either way, the animation is as good as any top-notch Pixar film. And I searched it up, and this film was made by Sony. Sony Pictures or something like that. It's Sony something, say it that way. I only had a quick look on Wikipedia last night, and I've been up since 10 yesterday, and I watched this movie about 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep on Netflix. And after this I watched a bit of Alpha and Omega, but I couldn't get into it, so I'm not going to review it because I didn't watch it all and I was half asleep at the time. However, I was half asleep while I was watching this, but it managed to keep me engrossed. It was about 3 when I started watching it, and it was about 4:30 when I finished, so I was in issues throughout school today. So, if I had to rate this film out of 10, a good 6, 7. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's a kids' film, but with enough jokes and enough edginess that it can be an adult film as well. It seems like they did try to pull a bit of a Disney, because at one point, spoiler alert, it does seem like Flint's dead, and for a while they play it off as if he actually is dead, and then blah 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 blah, rat ducks save him. And for a while I did think they pulled a Disney. And by pulling a Disney, I mean killing off a main character. Bambi, Mufasa, well not Bambi, Bambi's mum. Either way, they have a habit of killing people off. Either way, guys, this review's getting a bit long. I don't want these reviews to go over 7 minutes, because that's a good time for a review, in my opinion. So if you enjoyed this review, or want to see more, please go ahead and subscribe. Just subscribe.